So, what is Juneteenth and why is it so important to African Americans and Black people? Okay, I'm going to explain that to you in less than 5 minutes. Juneteenth celebrates the end of slavery in the United States. It is also known as Emancipation Day, Juneteenth Independence Day, and Black Independence Day. It occurred on June 19, 1865, when Union Major General Gordon Granger arrived in Galveston, Texas, and announced the end of the Civil War and the end of slavery. Although the Emancipation Proclamation came 2.5 years earlier, on January 1st, 1863, many slave owners continued to hold their slaves captive after the announcement. So Juneteenth became a symbolic date representing true African American freedom. Union versus the Confederate. The Union, which was the North, believed in a unified country free from slavery, with a mission to grant equal rights to African American slaves. Confederate States, which was the South, adopted an ideology of white supremacy and did not want slavery abolished, so they formed their own union, which was called the Confederate States. The Confederate States of America was a collection of Southern states that seceded from the United States in 1860, following the election of President Abraham Lincoln. These states included South Carolina, Mississippi, Florida, Alabama, Georgia, Louisiana, Texas, Virginia, North Carolina, Tennessee, and Arkansas. The election of Abraham Lincoln was labeled an act of war by some Southern politicians. They predicted that armies would come seize their slaves and force white women to marry black men. By February 1861, the Southern states had seceded. On April 12, 1861, Confederate forces fired shots at Union troops at Fort Sumter, which sparked the Civil War. The Confederate States was led by President-elect Jefferson Davis and General Robert E. Lee, which existed from 1861 to 1865. The Confederacy struggled for legitimacy and was never recognized as a sovereign nation. On April 9th, Confederate General Robert E. Lee surrendered to Union General Ulysses S. Grant, and by May 13, 1865, Confederate officials announced that their government had ended, meaning Confederate States of America ceased to exist. So once again, on June 19, 1865, Juneteenth, Union Major General Gordon Granger arrived in Galveston, Texas, announcing the end of the Civil War and the end of slavery. So what does that mean? The aftermath of that. The Confederate flag and the meaning is a symbolic oppression of slavery and racism that oppresses black people. It's the reason why protesters are bringing down statues, asking flags to be removed or taking down flags. Even major corporations are getting behind this and raising their level of awareness. The most recent example of that is NASCAR banning the Confederate flag. So what's the progress? Currently there's 48 states that either commemorate or observe Juneteenth. This week, New York State Governor Andrew M. Cuomo declared Juneteenth a holiday for New York State employees. Donald Trump also moved his rally out of respect for Juneteenth. So, is it a federal holiday? No. Should it be? Yes. What's so symbolic about this day is it was a true symbolism of Black independence and freedom. However, even after that, systemic racism continued to exist. So, making it a national holiday not only acknowledges the flaws and the systemic racism, but it also gives us time to reflect on the history that occurred in the United States of America.